Hi guys, Jason here, Jason's Trucking Info, and if you've never been here before, this channel is all about helping all truck drivers become even better truck drivers. So if those are the type of videos you're looking for, hit that subscribe button below, hit the bell so you're notified of all my upcoming videos. Please leave a like or even a dislike and leave a comment below explaining why you liked or didn't like it. Leave any questions or comments, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Alright guys, this is the Rand McNally Large Scale Motor Carriers Road Atlas. Laminated pages, larger maps, it's got the spiral back here, and I'm going to go through this book very quickly. I'm not going to get into too much detail. I'm going to talk about the most important stuff that I think you really need to know. Different people are going to need different portions of this. Some stuff some of you will use more than others. Got a table of contents for hazardous materials and fuel tax and inspection procedures, different stuff, low clearances and all kinds of mileage stuff. I'm not going to go into detail. The first part of it is hazardous materials. You can go over this and read this. Very important if you're going to haul hazardous materials. A lot of stuff that you will find very important. You will learn stuff from this book. You really do. Rand McNally has really done a good job of going into depth about stuff. So, doing inspection procedures, you can read this. You will learn stuff from every portion of this book. Fuel tax stuff, websites, phone numbers, locations, states and provinces, motor carrier programs. You can read this at your own leisure. Mexican and Canadian regulations. You can read this at your own leisure. I am not going to go into too much depth. Road construction and conditions. You can call these numbers if you want to know stuff. A lot of cool stuff in this book that you can really take advantage of to help you make your time easier on the road. Area codes across the country, you need to know that. Hotel and motel toll-free numbers and websites. Just a lot of cool stuff. State access policies and longer combination vehicles, stuff about that. The national weight and size provisions, like it'll probably tell you the bridge laws and stuff on this page. Legal size limits for interstate and designated routes. Legal weight limits for interstate routes and access. The RITO, whatever how you pronounce that. U.S. Interstate System National Network. Semi-trailers, twin trailers, overall length, ISC of freeze, whatever that is. Bridge formula table. So you can learn a lot by reading this stuff. This tells you legal weight limits and axles and different stuff. Read this stuff, guys, especially if you're new. Get to know this stuff if you really want to. And it's important. Weight and size limits. You really do want to learn this stuff. It gets kind of really complex, so do it a little bit at a time. Try to learn it. Stay in I don't know how to pronounce that. Provincial contacts, I guess. I don't know. Vehicle registration. There's phone numbers and whatever. You can come in here and read all this stuff about vehicle registration, operating authorities, state police numbers and stuff like that. Overweight, oversized stuff. I mean, they got all this information here for United States, Canada, Canada, radioactive materials, hazardous waste, hazardous spill reporting. All this stuff's in here. And then we get over here to on-road directory, restricted routes, telling you like in Alabama, the highways in cities for where there is low Low clearances. This is for low clearances and stuff. Low clearance locations. Restricted routes and stuff. Restricted routes and low clearances are on here. Low clearance. Restricted route. Restricted routes. Arizona. Low clearance locations. Permanent way inspection stations. Restricted routes. For every state. You can look this up for every state. Every state is in here, and it'll tell you exactly where you can and cannot go. Everything will not be in here though. There's still going to be stuff you're going to run into that didn't make it in this book. I mean, this will help you though when you're doing your trip planning. So let's, this is some of the most important stuff you want to learn. Map contents, and you can look up where cities are in a state. Here is a map of the United States and the major interstate system here. The interstate system, the major highways through here, selected places of interest and stuff, and has lists of stuff all along the bottom here. Sorry if I'm going a little fast, but there's a lot of stuff to cover. I don't want to get too detailed. A lot of information. At the top edges of each page there are, you can look up from one city to another. You can figure out how many miles are between, say, it looks like a grid system like Anniston to Dothan is 80 miles, okay, and it works like that, and you can go all across here, and it shows interstates. There's a lot of information in this book. You can buy the big one, you get a lot of information. They have blown up city maps and stuff. And sometimes, sometimes you find that there's stuff that's not in here that should be. But for the most part, this is another tool you got. Like with any tools, there are do's and don'ts. And things that you need that aren't there, and things that you need that are there, and you just got to figure that out for yourself by putting it to use and figuring it out. The longer you become a truck driver, or that you are a truck driver and you drive around the country, the more you will start remembering what kinds of stuff you will deal with in each state and in different areas of the country, and that will help you to get around easier as time goes on. You will try not to make all the same mistakes. Try not to repeat the same mistakes. Try to make all new ones. If you're always making new mistakes, your life is going to get easier and easier. Try to avoid repeating the same mistakes. Always try to make all new ones, and try to avoid even making those. Try to learn from what everybody around you is doing. Watch people around you. Watch what they do, right and wrong. I always say that in all my videos. And try to avoid making mistakes that you see them making. There's all kinds of stuff in here, like California. Certain, like some of these have very detailed maps of the cities, like Los Angeles and stuff. And depending on where you're going, you got really detailed information. There is stuff that you will not see in here though. So, but there is a lot of stuff. Let's see here. Let's go all the way to the back. Let's get all the way past all this to the back, because all this is pretty much, I'm not going to go over every little stupid little thing, because there's too much to go over in a video. That would be a very long video. Back here there is, let's just say Iowa. Des Moines, we'll just look up Des Moines. Where's these? Des Moines 43. There's a zip code for Des Moines. Des Moines I-10, and let's see, Atlas pages 72, 73, and 70. I-10 is on 72 through 73, so go to, there's 55, 155, there's 82. You want to go to the 72, almost there. Oh, here's Iowa, but we want to go to the 72 and 73. There's Des Moines, and it's sideways, and if you look at it, there's I, and then you look up here, 10. So here's 10. Go here and you go down to the I, and there's Des Moines, and it's not directly, it's almost in between the 9 and the 10, but it's pretty close. So you got to make a little bit of allowances, but it is pretty user friendly. What you got to remember when using a map is you got to constantly try to remember mile markers of locations. After the longer you drive, the more you're going to get used to memorizing mile markers of places that you go to a lot. You're going to remember locations, and you're especially going to remember the locations and important information about things that you screw up on and give you a lot of grief. When you have memorable experiences, good or bad, you're going to remember things better. But you need to find your own way. There's memory techniques that you can use to memorize stuff. But the more you do stuff, the more you have to use information, the more you're going to remember it. Learn the mile markers of locations that you gotta go to a lot. Exit numbers for highways and wherever you're going a lot. And you will remember the longer you are on the road, the longer you're a truck driver, the more you do stuff, a lot, the better you're going to get at it. You need to constantly work at it. There's nothing worse than someone who's been doing something for a while and they don't improve on it because they don't try to improve on it. They get in their head that they just suck at something and they don't try to work on it and get better at it. The only way to get better at something is to continuously do it and try to figure out why is it you're having a problem, whether it's backing, whether it's routing, or whatever. I have trouble getting in bigger cities that I'm not used to and getting confused by signs, and especially when I'm using GPS. The GPS is telling me to get off on an exit ramp, but there's 2 ways I can go, and it's not telling me which way I can go, and I don't know which lane I need to be in, and I get confused by what GPS systems are telling you, whether it's on my phone or on a trucker's GPS or any of them. They can get a little confusing. So the longer you drive, the more you go through certain cities, the more you go all over the country as a truck driver. No matter what you're doing, the longer you got to do it, you can't help but become a little bit better at it over time. The more you work at it, the more you simplify it in your brain and not get it all complex. Anytime you're having trouble with something, try to break it down and simplify it into its different parts and try to make it easier on yourself by breaking it down into the individual parts and just simplify it. Nothing is that complicated. Dumb people take things that are simple and complicate them. People who are smart take really complicated things and simplify them and break them down and make them easier and forego stuff that doesn't really need to be paid attention to or get all excited about. If you get too detailed about some things, you can actually do yourself a disservice. Simplify it. Whether or not you're routing yourself across the country, one thing you need to do is For one, you need a physical address. Use as many ways to route yourself to a location as you possibly can. You need to know the physical address of where you're going. Hopefully you get customer directions. Hopefully you've got customer contact info, like not only the physical address, but you've got at least one phone number for shipping and receiving at the place you're going to, so that they can help you get there. Can call ahead and say, these are the directions I got. Are these directions good? Another thing you want to do, every time you put your physical addresses into a GPS, you need to compare it to the customer directions that you have and see how closely they match, how closely they match. And then figure out, okay, if you're using, like, say, directions off of a Qualcomm, because a lot of training companies use Qualcomm system, but not all of them. But there are a lot of companies off their e-log, they have customer directions that you follow. You write those down. They got routing. They write down the roads you're supposed to take to get to wherever you're going. Compare those to what your GPS is telling you to do. Every GPS has a turn-by-turn list on it. Let me show you. Okay, this is my phone, and I've routed myself. I like using the Google Maps for what I do, because it gives me options of different ways I can go, and I can definitely, it's easier for me to, shrink or expand the map, and I can look around and see what highways it's trying to make me go. And if I know, like, I drive these roads often enough, I know that there is on 141, I've already selected this way because it is like the in-between route. You can shrink this with your fingers and bring it up, okay? And it'll give you turn-by-turn list. It'll give you estimated time you're going to get somewhere, how many miles it is going the way you're going. And if you decide to take a different road or something, GPSs will reroute you and figure out the next fastest way to go, depending on how you have your settings in your deal. But this is your direction list. Okay, this will tell you directions. Compare this to what your directions say. Go all the way down, especially to like if you're going to make turns to go to a customer. You might not be concerned about all this crap up here getting you to the major city. You might be more worried about, once you get close to that city, what turns you got to get on and off, and you want to compare those last several turns to what not only this says, but to what your customer directions say, and to what, if you've called to confirm your directions with the customer, you want to compare the last several turns with the with what you're being told, and compare everything and how much of the stuff matches. All right, so you come off of this, like this is alternate routes and stuff. So this says it's like 6 minutes faster, but you can't always go by that, because Google's just trying to do the best it can to route you the fastest, most efficient way it sees. But you are going to know more about, like, if you're going to go through a city at rush hour traffic time, you might want to route around, because you know that you might get in stop-and-go traffic and be stuck in a major city for several hours trying to get through rush hour traffic, versus if you were to take some country roads that, yes, normally feel like you go through a major city like Des Moines during non-peak times, you can get right through there. But if you go through rush hour traffic between like 3:30 and 6:30 especially during a weekday, you're going to wind up in stop and go traffic. There might be accidents, there might be this and that, slowing you down. So you might want to route around Des Moines if possible, depending on where you're coming from. You might want to route around whatever city. If you know that you're going to go through a place that at rush hour times or during busy times, you might want to route around that and use some of the alternate routes. I had 3 different ways I could have gone. There was another route up here. I chose this one. It was 6 minutes slower than going this 169 way, but I know that there's a detour right down here somewhere off the 141. And I know that there's another detour somewhere on 169. So I'm going to try taking this different route and hope there's no detours on it. Do you see what I'm saying? The more you know about where you're going, the more you've been driving, and the more recently you've been in the areas, the more you know stuff you want to avoid. So those are a few things that'll help you. Be real careful when following. Be real careful when using a GPS, okay? Because I don't care what GPS system you're, I don't care if you're using the trucker's GPS. I don't. It doesn't matter whether it's what brand it is, how much you paid for it, how much you've updated it, whether it's your phone and you've updated it all the time. I don't care. All GPSs will, from time to time, send you all over the place. I tell my wife all the time, you gotta take and expand when you set your GPS, and when you bring it on, it's gonna come up and you're only gonna see this. Okay, I don't like to use this. I like to shrink my screen down and see where it's gonna try to send me, because sometimes they try to send you a goofy way. I have seen GPSs take you 20 miles out of your way to go 1 block away from where you literally were 1 block or only a few blocks away or just a mile away. And it'll take you because it thinks, for some reason, GPSs are really weird. It's just technology does this. You put a physical address in for one place, it'll send you all over the place just to get to some places right down the street. You put an address in that's a place that's right next to it, on almost the same spot, it'll take you right there and have you there in 2 minutes and have direct directions. GPSs are only as good as their programming, and they're only good as the information they have. And depending on what addresses you put in, depending on what you're putting into them, you've got to pay attention. You've got to look at the turn-by-turn list. You've got to open up, however you open it up, you've got to go into your turn-by-turn list. You've got to find where that's at on whatever GPS system you're using and get into this turn-by-turn list, like previewing your route or doing whatever. What did I do? Let's see, directions. You can do your turn list. Some people prefer to look at the turn list. Okay, that's cool to look at that, but I prefer myself to look at the map, and I prefer to start out with this thing on here, and when I know I'm going to go through an area where I'm going to have a lot of different turns, complex right and lefts and stuff, then I will expand it on that area. Like if I'm going like right here, I'm going to have to make a turn. If I want to know what the heck I'm doing right there, I will expand that on there. So, okay, I'm going up here and I'm going to be making a left onto a ramp, getting onto another highway. Okay, so when you do that, you can shrink and expand this. This is why I like to use my phone more, but you also got to have the experience and knowledge to know to look out for telltale signs that you're going to be in an area that you don't want to bring that truck into. That comes with experience, and even seasoned drivers mess up from time to time. The difference between the beginner driver, the newbie, and an experienced driver is we've been doing it longer, we've made more mistakes, we've messed up more, and we're just better at getting ourselves out of jams because we've been in so many of them. Plain and simple. I don't care who you are. Everybody messes up. Everybody makes wrong turns. Everybody gets themselves in a jam. You get better and better at avoiding the bigger mistakes and figuring out how to get yourself out of those jams quicker and easier, and to the point where people don't even realize we're in a jam. And you just get out, you know, like you figure out, oh, I messed up. You just, you know, the point where there's a difference between how often can you figure out, as a truck driver, you're supposed to figure stuff out on your own as much as possible. Everybody once in a while needs to call for help and ask questions because they don't have a method. You might not have a good cell signal, and usually even Google, even when I have a bad signal, continues to work in the background and seems to be able to figure out where I'm at. Even when it says no service up here, it seems to still work. And I found that rather bizarre. But learn to use whatever routing GPS program you're using, whether it's Google Maps, whether it's a Rand McNally, whether it's a Garmin, whether it's for cars or trucks. You got to figure out how to route yourself properly without getting yourself into a jam, and pay attention to what's going on. When you start getting off the interstate, you got to pay attention to everything. Before you ever turn down a road, don't just blindly turn into anywhere. Look to see if there's enough room for you to turn on there. Look to see if you can't see what's going on and you're in areas that are like out east. There's a lot of really tight areas. There's a lot of low bridges. There's a lot of tight spaces, a lot of guardrails on roads, a lot of really tight, narrow roads, and a lot of things you got to watch. A lot of like areas where you can bring your truck in this way on these roads, but when you leave, you got to take a different way, and you got to figure out which way that is. You got to pay attention, because the sign telling you that you have to turn down this road and go out. I ran into this in New Jersey. I got off and I was able to go down here, make a left, and go down and go to this place. But when I left that place, I think it was UPS or FedEx or something, and I was going to a place like that. But when I left, as soon as I went like a block down the street from that place, instead of going all the way down to the light that I turned left on to come down there, I had to make a right on this one street that didn't look like I should be on it. There was a sign right about our height, about the size of one of those no parking signs that's got red letters on it. No parking between this time and this time, blah, blah, blah. Snow route or whatever. Those signs about this big, about almost a little smaller than a speed limit sign. Maybe about as big as that sign right there. If you're lucky, it was that big. This thing was about 1/4 the size of that sign, and it was up on a telephone pole right about eye level. But it was weird. Okay, it was completely weird. Okay, wrong way. It is completely weird. So, all right, I gotta end this video and get back driving. But remember these tips, folks. If you like this video, if you think this video is gonna help your friends or whoever, any other truck drivers, share this video out. If you've not subscribed to this channel and you want more driving tips, hit the subscribe button below. Hit that bell so you're notified of all my future videos. Whenever I post a video, you'll get a notification when you hit that bell. And leave a like, leave some comments. And other drivers, if there's anything I'm leaving out, feel free to post more information below, or if I said something wrong, correct me in the comments. I don't mind. Correct me in the comments. And add to it if there's more. If you think I should have explained something in more detail, read the comments. Whenever you're watching videos like this with information, read the comment section below and look what other people have talked about. And any replies, like someone puts a comment in my video, I might have replied to it. And who knows what you can learn from. Sometimes you learn more from the comment section of a YouTube video than you actually do from the video itself. Makes sense? Because people will talk about stuff and they might talk about something or make a point in those comments below that just like, oh, bright idea, that makes sense, I didn't think of that, you know. And those are the type of things I'm trying to bring to you. I'm trying to bring stuff to you in a different way whenever I can. So anyway, I gotta go. I will catch you guys next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Like I said again, leave that like, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. And I'll catch you next video.